Hello, and welcome to Mr. Marr History. In today's video, we're going to be looking at the National 5 History exam and discussing how you go about answering how fully questions. Before we start, let's look at a bit of background information about these questions. How fully questions will be worth 6 marks in the final exam. You will get how fully question in all sections of the exam, and this means you will get 3 in total. The purpose of these questions is simple. It's to identify facts from a source which answers a question, and then, using your own knowledge, think about possible details which are missing from this. As we've already noted, how fully questions are worth 6 marks, but let's discuss now how you can actually go about getting those marks. The first thing you actually have to do in these questions is answer the question, and give an idea of just how fully the source does actually answer the topic which is named in the question. There are no marks available for doing this, but you will have marks taken off if you don't do it. What you can get marks for, and you can get up to 3 of these, is for identifying relevant facts taken from the source. You can also get up to 4 marks for identifying relevant facts from your own knowledge that aren't included in the source. Obviously 3 marks and 4 marks equals 7, so you can mix and match. You might have 3 from the source and 3 from your own knowledge, or equally 2 from the source and 4 facts from your own knowledge. Please note though, if you fail to include any of these sections, you'll get a maximum of 2 marks. For instance, if you give 3 marks from the source but don't give anything from your own knowledge, then you can only get 2 marks. Now, one way to go about answering this question and remembering everything you have to do is using the AID acronym. It stands for the following. The A is simply answer, so you answer the question. And in this, what you're wanting to do is give an indication that the source gives some useful information, but that you know it doesn't give everything about the topic. The I from AID is includes. This is when you talk about what the source includes, and you link obviously back to the question. You must use your own words when you do this. It's not enough to simply give the quote. And of course, as has been noted, you can get 3 marks for this. Finally, the D of AID is doesn't include. You've got to think about facts that the source could have mentioned but doesn't, and then talk about them. And you can do this up to 4 times. When you're stating source facts, this is one potential approach to doing it. As I've already noted, you can't just give the quote. If you give the quote and nothing else, you won't get it. It is possible to simply put into your own words what exactly you think the source is saying. However, to ensure you actually get the marks, one approach is to do the following. Write the quote, and then give a summary of it in your own words. For instance, source A says, give the quote, this shows that, and explain what this means. It's not actually a requirement that you give the quote, and this shows that. You can simply do it into your own words straight away, but this is an approach potentially for people that aren't totally sure about the best way to summarise the meaning of a phrase. One thing that it's important to know is that there are actually 2 different types of how fully questions, and they need to be approached in a different manner. You can get a describe how fully question, or you can get an explain how fully question. For instance, a describe would simply ask you to talk about something that happened, for instance, describing Nazi youth policies. An explain question is about why something happened, for instance, explaining why Hitler was able to gain power by 1933. Now, in a describe question, this is the easiest one. You really do just have to describe what happened, give your knowledge, and this should be reasonably easy as long as you know about the topic. But in an explain question, you must explain why it happened, and this goes for both the quote from the source and also when you give facts from your own information as well. Don't just describe what happened, actually explain why something came about. Let's look at an example of this. This is taken from the Nazi Germany topic, and in this case it's a describe question, in this case looking at opposition in Nazi Germany. You can see that we have got a description of what the source is, we've got the source itself, and we have the question. Remember to focus on what the specific question is. We start off to answer the question using the AID acronym with our answer. And remember, at this point, what we want to point out is that it gives some useful information, but not everything. And you can see here a point which summarises this issue. After this, we go to the I of AID, which remember is includes. And this is where we talk about all the facts the source includes, and we explain their relevance to the particular question. For instance, we can talk about workers protesting by not giving the Nazi salute. We can talk about other workers damaging equipment in factories. And we can talk about some workers even trying to kill Hitler. You will note in this case there's no actual quote, which isn't a requirement, but people that aren't confident in summarising straight away might wish to give the quote and then explain it in their own words. You can see here where we took the information from for the previous answer. Last but not least, we have the D of aid, which is doesn't include. And this is the point at which we give information from our own knowledge, but that's not included in the source. We want to give one fact here, we want to give a second, and we want to give a third. And because this is a 6-mark question, we've given 3 marks from the source, 3 facts from our own knowledge. That gives us our full marks. Let's look at the answer then in summary. Remember, we use the AID acronym. We start off with our answer. We clearly answer the question. We then move on to the I of aid, which is includes, and we talk about what the source is telling us. And D, doesn't include, we talk about what's missing from the source, but you know from your own knowledge. National 5 History Exam, how to answer how fully questions. It's really that simple.